it's nice to have things that are really good, darn good. Hey, we're going to talk to somebody who's the best that you got with gutters that are the best DAM gutters, right? They're
Correct.
damming the water. We're going to show you why they're so good. Important stuff, everybody. Stay tuned. So here we are, everybody. We're in the Your Little Castle show. I get fun, cool guests all the time. Getting the word out, having people realize what you're bringing to the table and what you're doing to change our little planet is awesome. And really cool seeing the great video. We might share your video. It's on your website, reminiscent of Becky's carpet. Remember Becky? And you're getting, 2.5 million views on that thing?
Oh, a lot of views. It's pretty much blown up.
That's really cool. But we'll talk about that. And so one of the best known marketing catchphrases here in the region, Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things. And I throw on to that. I saw Brooke yesterday. You like nice things in your little house, in your little castle, the castle show, right? Because you can't have a nice house without nice furniture, but you better have darn good gutters too, right?
Right.
Best dam gutters, the dam that block the water. That's what I like about that. But with that, let's jump in here. And maybe you've had a house that has great furniture, but you got your gutters done by our friends here, Austin Funk, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about it. Let's jump in here and put up on the walls. I've got 2 TV walls that'll show off everything you're doing. So take a look at that. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
And tell me then, what's it like being a business owner, somebody who's had to take on the marketing side of the world too, and be creative there. You're good at what you do, giving people a good product, but hey, you got to get the word out.
Right. So being a business owner has many of its challenges. You know, you got to wear multiple different hats. Some hats that you didn't even intentionally, intend to wear, but you just kind of have to figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, hats. See what we're talking about there? This guy's mastered that already, and he's been doing this. I was telling you, I'm a little jealous of anybody who starts a business. As you've been doing this for a long time.
Very long time.
But I'm 53 now, and you got a couple of years on me. I wish I'd have started a business when I was younger. Is it been rewarding for you to have your own business, that you're running everything?
It's very rewarding. There's a lot of benefits. There's financial freedom, time that you can make with your family. You don't have to do any requesting. You are the person that the request goes through.
Let me ask the boss. That's yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But, throughout all of that, being a business owner is the most rewarding because what you get to provide for your customers. You get to provide the best service and get the reaction for it, and that's the most rewarding part. Yeah,
when you get done with the job, that's when I ask people, what's your passion about this? We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, see that look on somebody's face when they're like, that's my house. It looks beautiful. Look at those gutters. And you see those gutters, right, when somebody walks up, and if they don't look good, you can say, somebody has.
Yeah, it really changes the curb appeal.
It does, yeah. Important there. Well, what led you here? How did you get into this? You when you were 7 years old, is that right?
Yeah,
you started working in this industry a little bit?
I started in the summer, during summer vacation in between school, and my dad worked for multiple different gutter companies throughout the years in this area, and he didn't want to pay for daycare, so I went to work with him and was swinging hammers, and in doing that, I looked up to my dad. There was many times, especially in the winter, hanging gutters that isn't easy. And he was strapping his boots on and still heading out the door, so it was very admirable, and it was something I looked up to, and that's mainly why I got into the industry.
And then when you started your professional career, how old were you? This is something you did were you in high school?
No, so
after high school,
I started my professional career directly out of high school. Okay. I went into multiple different fields to try to better my scenario in my life, and out of every scenario I went through, electronic repair, through sales, everything ended up leading me back to gutters and construction. So
that's a good path to go. That sounds like your dad had done well with that and kind of led you there.
Absolutely.
So that means now, we see 23 years you've been doing this thing.
Yes.
You start very young, you can add years pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Has that experience led to the passion you have, and obviously the credibility and the results you've had that have been very good?
Yeah, so like I said, I was in multiple different industries, and then I went into sales, and I seen that the gutter industry it was kind of more or less a chuck and a truck industry. You know, there really wasn't, you know, anybody that, you know, had, you know, a phone staff, an office staff, you know, someone who, you know, could actually handle warranties and stand behind it. You know, because, you know, in this industry, it's very common for a fly-by-night. You know, and that's what we want to provide, is something for somebody to contact with issues if they ever arise.
Yeah, I can imagine there's so many people. I guess you're getting into roofing that's a little more robust. There's guys that can do that with the chuck and a truck, but at the same time, it's a little harder with the materials you got to acquire. But when you're talking about gutters and siding, or gutters in particular, and siding is like roofing. I'm trying to say, but gutters, couple, you know, these metal things that you can slide them in the back of a truck, put them up there, get a ladder.
Yeah,
and you got to make sure you're dealing with the right people when you're working on this.
Yeah, yeah. You know, see, siding, you know, roofing, even carpentry, you know, there's a little give and take. You know, you can come up short and you add a little bit more, but with metal, it has to be exact. You know,
right.
you can't come up short, come up too much. It has to be just precise.
And so the expertise that Dad kind of instilled this in you as a kid.
Oh yeah, details.
Details. Tell me why that was so important. How that influenced you.
Details. You know, your whole life surrounds by details. If you just go through life without any kind of direction or any purpose, you don't know where you're going to end up. You know, so details matter, and that goes from life and all the way into gutters.
Yeah, well, your business, if you're going to, I can only imagine, yeah, because if you're right, if you got a piece of roofing, you just trim off that little extra bit. But if you do that with gutters, they're not going to fit. They're going to look weird, and
not
they're going to hang
fit,
wrong. And
not going to, you know, they're not going to
water comes leaking out. That's
right. That's the worst.
Okay. What's best about your gutters? What is it that you're passionate about this that kind of sets you apart?
So anybody can come out and just hang gutters on your house, you know. But the thing with us is that you get what we call a GWP. All right, and what that is, it's a guarantee, warranty, and a promise.
Okay, all right, you're covering it across the board. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the GWP, it means that we guarantee our work better than any other contractor can. If anything happens to that gutter, besides act of God and, you know, acts of nature, you know, we come out and we replace that gutter or fix that gutter, no cost to the customer. And that's for the lifetime of the gutter. And it's not a gimmick lifetime, it's a real lifetime.
Okay.
And that lifetime's 20 years. And it's not just materials, it's materials and labor. Because that's the worst. You know, you can say, okay, we warranty the materials, but then to fix it, I got to cost you money. That seems completely inappropriate. So what we do here at Best Damn Gutters, it's a complete umbrella warranty from the labor to the material, completely.
Yeah, it's important because a lot of times your labor these days, you're talking $60, $70, $100, $150, $200 an hour, depending if you're at some of these auto shops are charging crazy money. It's not cheap. That's to say, oh, we got the materials covered, but it's that labor that really adds up.
That's where they get you.
And it's also important, I would say, tell me if you agree, this is part of your perspective on that, is that gutters can very easily not look correct because one piece is hanging down. There's a water flow that came through. The two pieces were connected, but then came disconnected. That's a simple thing. Roof, that's a little harder to do, but gutters, they're interconnecting pieces. It's a system, right? It's got
exactly. It all has to work together. It's not just one particular piece that you can just take out and put back in. It all has to function properly.
Building a system for your house. Okay, and I've been told, is this true? We had some waterproofing guys here, and they said many times, I said, where some of the problems come from? Is it from roots growing from trees? He says, gutters that aren't properly draining, they'll end up running water into your foundation and cause problems. That's why gutters are so important.
Yeah, and you know, the reason being is because your home is collecting all that water. You know, whatever your square footage your home is, it's collecting it and putting it right into one particular place, right next to your foundation. So if you have gutters to be able to capture that water and take it away where it needs to be, you're in good hands.
Yeah, and then you better have some gutters that are doing the job correctly.
Exactly.
I was talking to the guys we had. Tell me if this is true. Being a little bit just get it done type of guy, I drive by with my lawnmower. Now I've got a robot lawnmower, so this won't be a problem. But I just drove by and I end up tearing off the little downspout thing. So now you can see where erosion has literally poured in there. And I got to get that replaced. I cupped it now finally to spit it out a little bit, but water's going right there. You can see a hole going down next to my house. These are the kinds of problems that people can cause if they're not having their gutter system running correctly.
Absolutely. And we take care of everything from the gutters to the downspouts and even to the buried drainage. As you can see in the video in the back here, where we can actually take the water fully away from the house. And different scenarios into city storm drains or into the yard, however it plays out.
Okay, yeah, because there's a system with that. I happen to be at the end of the subdivision where behind me is the big water drain. Whenever there's a big thunderstorm, it fills up a little bit. They've got a little island thing. If the water gets up that, then it goes down another drain. But they have all designed the way this water is going to flow. And if you're not playing with that system, sump pumps and all kinds of crazy things that you better be aware of.
Yep.
Because if you start getting water problems in your houses, and the gutters are a big contributor to that.
Big contributor.
Tell me why that's so impactful.
So here's why, and this comes from experience from another company that I worked at. As I said, I was very diverse, before starting this company. When people are building homes and they're building the foundation, a lot of people don't know this, but they're actually digging out 3 to 4 feet away from that foundation. So when they put all that dirt back around the home, what they're essentially doing is creating what's called non-virgin dirt. And what it's doing is when it rains real heavy, you're getting what's called almost a moat around the house.
Okay.
So as long as you capture that water coming off of that roof and get it away from the house where it needs to be, you're not going to have any issues.
But because that dirt you said is non-virgin, it's been loose and moving.
Right, it's been loose,
the other stuff's
moved
been packed,
around, yeah.
then it's harder to erode. But this is a big erosion problem, and you better have that gutter system in place.
Correct. It's part of the whole heart of the system.
Yeah. What percentage of houses don't have gutters these days? I guess everybody should.
In the northern states, a lot of the, from the midline of the U.S. above, almost all homes nowadays have gutters.
Okay.
And a lot of municipalities, it's required by code.
Okay.
A lot of your southern states like Georgia, Mississippi, some of those states, you'll go through whole entire towns and neighborhoods and they don't have gutters. But you do see a lot of them are dilapidated.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that causes all kinds of problems.
All sorts of
And
problems.
how could somebody get away without having gutters?
Just the lack of code, in the municipality. Code takes time, and for things to get changed, there has to be problems that arise, and for people to care. And there's a stigma to gutters that people just don't think about it. It's it's the unfortunate reality, but it's the reality of it's almost the last thing to think about until they have a problem.
Yeah. So as a matter of the storms, when you've got roof damage, very often do you also have gutter damage, and is that something that you've got to something you need to talk to the insurance company about, because these are things that need to be resolved also?
So a lot of times when you have debris coming off your roof, whether it be from storm damage, tiles sliding off the roof, ice and snow, your gutters are going to be the last thing at the end of that line when it comes down to your roof. So a lot of times they do end up taking the beating.
Yeah, so very often if somebody's got a claim, maybe we should talk about this a little bit, and we're going to go to a break here, but yeah, I mean, don't be afraid to get a gutter specialist to look at this, because a lot of the roofing guys tell me this is true with you. You don't want to go argue with the roofing or the insurance company about the roof. Likewise, you don't want to do that with the gutters. You want to have an expert that looks at this to designate whether or not you have had damage. Somebody like yourself, and you come and give them an estimate and survey to see if there is real damage or not.
Yeah, correct. Because you want someone that is on your side that benefits from you. The adjusters, we can't talk bad about anybody, but everybody's different, but we have to presume that everybody's going to do the right thing. But at the end of the day, they're there for the insurance company. They're not there for you. So that's who we are there for. It's for the customer.
Yeah, the adjuster isn't there saying, hey, can we spend as much money as possible?
Exactly.
I dealt with a little bit of an issue myself. We had a tornado that came through here, so we got hit. But I'll never forget, the adjuster pointed to one of the posts I've got in front of my house, and he goes, see that tar on the side there? I'm going to pay for this post, but I'm not going to pay for the other. Okay. Maybe the others got hit, maybe they didn't, but we went with that. But then he got me with the siding and the gutters, and I'm saying we're going to replace these, but not those. And because there wasn't enough apparent damage, and my buddy said, oh no, all of them were damaged. You should have all of them replaced. But if you don't, you're going with the inspector yourself, you're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, see, there's a lot of different things to consider when you're dealing with insurance. There's a lot of code, compliance, laws that the insurance has to follow and go through, and there's certain things that you have to be aware, like I was saying, code and compliance. There's many a times that we've shown up to estimates where, the customer said, oh, we had a little bit of storm, but it doesn't meet, our deductible, and we've taken that, $1,300, damage, or deductible would it be in this case, and we've turned it into $45,000 worth of damage, where we've gotten roof replaced, gutters replaced, siding, windows, doors, garage, AC units.
Wow.
It can lead into a whole spew of repairs if you have the right person on your side.
Yeah, and you're not going out there making things happen that didn't happen. You're just pointing out things that they overlooked, obviously.
Correct.
So they're going to examine this again after you point it out.
Very good.
And see this and go, hey, wait a minute, we missed some here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to come back and talk about this a little bit more in the second half. Stay tuned. But we're going to show you a little bit more of our fun stuff we're doing out in the community. Check it out. Are you righty or lefty? All right, so give me your form. Are you going to do wind up or are you going to do stretch? All right, so just show me how to do this. How are you going to do it? Right, all right, move over forward right there. You got to hold it. Don't let that trophy. I know it looks heavier on TV. I know. All right, you go like this, right? That's the rubber right there. Let's say, all right? We'll step up here, show me how you're going to do it. All right, pretty good. Now, if I was going to be out there, maybe someday, here, I'll do a little bit more like this. Ready? It's called the Al Roboski Cardinal Cowboy. Here we go. You gotta get, hold on. That's how you gotta, think you can do that? All right, let's go Cardinals on 3. You guys ready? You got it? You're all watching the Cardinals game. Come over and hold the trophy. You got it? All right, hold that up because I'm gonna let you, if you guys say, let's go Cardinals, then you guys get a picture with the trophy. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Let's go Cardinals! Giddy up, touch the knuckles for good luck. Here we go.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up!
Well, there we go. A lot of fun stuff we get to do in the community, highlighting those leaders. And those kids, man, that was fun. They were throwing out the first pitch for the Cardinal game. I haven't even thrown out the first pitch for the Cardinal game. Cardinal Cowboy. I've helped some fundraising groups, and somebody from that organization was throwing out the first pitch a few different times. But sports is a pretty important part of our life. Did you play any sports as a kid?
Yeah, I played football. I actually played for the Little Knights.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
A little bit of sports background there. But tell me then, give me the. I always like to go over the reviews a bit. I'm going to put the wide camera out here, and we found out, yeah, man, doing great with your reviews.
Yeah, thank you.
4.9. I'm just going to pick one here because there's a pretty good chance I'm going to pick somebody that's happy.
Pick any of them.
So Austin and his wife were great. and that's good. Got to make you feel good.
Oh yeah.
They were able to take care of our gutters. Here, I'm going to put it up on the screen for everybody to see here too. So take a look at this so everybody can see it. But they were able to do our gutters within a week of signing the contract. Communication was excellent, and the workmanship was very high quality. The price was fair. It was far better than other quotes we got. So some of that overhead you can absorb the cost. Obviously, you keep your cost competitive, but you still have a very high quality product.
Yeah. So you know, when dealing with the gutter system, a lot of customers and a lot of our commercial clients, one of the first things they always say is, all right, what about the price? I got these other quotes here. And I walk down, the other quotes with the customers, and one of the biggest things that we offer is going to be our warranty and our guarantees, right? And the warranty is ironclad, so to speak. If anything happens to that gutter, whether it be Mother Nature or some kind of freak weather accident, we come out. If that gutter is destroyed, right? As long as it isn't Mother Nature or any acts of God, we come out, we fix it, or we replace it at zero cost to the customer. And that's for the lifetime of the gutter.
That's important because in any times of act of God, that's usually going to be covered by their insurance, right?
Correct.
So they're pretty much covered all the way around. But you talked about what is the cost analysis for somebody? If somebody says, "Oh, I can do it myself," or "I can have my brother-in-law do it," very often they're going with the cheapest bid. And is that what you would say is that one of the biggest mistakes people make? Going with the cheapest bid means you're going to get the cheapest quality parts and.
Well, not just the cheapest quality parts, because we do use high quality parts, but there's other things to factor in here. Is someone going to be there to answer the phones to deal with the issues that arise?
Right.
Because nobody's perfect. Is someone going to be there to assist and fix those problems in a timely manner? Or are they just a chuck in a truck that they have a 30-day backlog and they can't get to fix your problem in 30 days? Us, we get out there as quickly as possible. A lot of times within 24 hours, we get out there to fix any issues. And we keep those issues to a very, very, very low minimum because of how good of our quality is. But if that ever does arise, the customer is reassured that it's there.
Yeah, I'd say, I guess like any product, there's a difference in price. If there's a difference in cost of the actual materials being used, the cheapest stuff has lesser quality and lesser features, and so you're not using any of that stuff. You're using the top tier.
Yeah, so we use a lot of customers don't know what goes into a gutter system,
Right, yeah.
and it's not like a whole plethora. We got hangers, we got screws, and we got the gutter material. The gutter material we actually use from a company located here in Missouri in Fenton called Spectra.
Okay.
And they are a nationwide, one of the largest gutter manufacturers in the country. They developed very high quality products, especially with their paint. Now the hangers that we use are from a company manufacturing here in Missouri as well called Raytech. And they are one of the strongest hanger manufacturers in the Northern America. And then another benefit to what we use, all right, is zinc coated screws, all right?
Okay.
And these screws are actually rated for the coastal regions, but we use them here because they're just better for the customer. And the cost difference to us is just pennies because we buy in bulk.
Right. Okay. That's another good reason. I think a lot of people go with that high quality stuff. Spend a little bit extra. Have it. The guys are going to implement this the right way because the cost will be minimal when it comes to, especially somebody like you buys in bulk. That'll be a lot for their own benefit. Tim, tell me, why should somebody choose you? What would you say is the biggest thing that separates you from anyone else?
The biggest thing that separates us from everybody else is because we really care. We care how your reaction is going to be. We want to make sure that you don't have any regret, any remorse. If it's a matter of, we didn't communicate something very effectively or there was an expectation missed, we make sure that we exceed and we make sure that that customer does not have any regret when we leave that job site. So if that means that we got to eat some cost, that we got to make whatever, do something different that no one else has done, we do it.
Well, that's what you're talking about. That's what shows up in your reviews. At 4.9, you made a lot of people happy. But your reputation is on the line. That's why I talk to people about if you're ever going to do business. I always try to choose the small business owners, small businesses, because very often I'm speaking to the owner. Right?
Correct.
If I have a problem, I have a question, I don't go through the first level support and pass me on a second level. It talks me to the general manager, passed me on to district manager, and then
And
finally,
you're just being tossed around.
right.
You know.
And is that a real benefit working with a small business like yourself? You think you guys do a good job with that?
Yeah, definitely. Customer service is one of the main things that everybody prides us on. If you don't believe us, give us a call and find out. You instantly you will see the difference.
Very cool. That's the things we're looking for. And we do have one of the experts in the building. Wife is here making sure and listening. Are we doing okay so far? Yeah. Okay, cool. And good team that you guys have and support each other. And she even showed up for the interview to make sure. If my hair doesn't look good,
She's the bodyguard.
She's the bodyguard. So my girlfriend, I say that all the time. She keeps me in line too. Very good. Well, tell me, what is the biggest mistake that the average consumer makes? Is it just simply going with the cheapest bid? How often is it the case where the roofing is tied in with the gutters and they're saying, "Oh, we got you. We'll take care of that too." And is that a problem? What do people take it?
Yeah, so things to look at. How long has this person that's out to your house talking about these gutters or talking about your roof been in that industry? Do they really know what they are talking about, or are they just giving you a facade? Are they just telling you what you want to hear? We give real solutions. So we're not, when we come to a customer's house, we're taking everything into consideration. The roof pitch, the roof type, everything. Not one gutter fits all, not one gutter protection fits all. And in some cases, it doesn't even make any sense to get gutter protection. We're not going to try to sell you something that's not going to work, that's going to create problems. If it makes more sense for us to come out and clean your gutters on a regular basis, we'd rather offer you that than sell you something like a gutter protection that's not going to work.
Yeah, are leaf filters important? Is that something else you will add, or is it included?
Yeah, gutter protection.
Gutter protection
is another thing we offer, and we offer multiple different types. And if anybody comes out to your property and says that, "Oh, these are maintenance free," tell them to get back on the truck, because in life, nothing's maintenance free.
Okay.
Nothing. I'm sure you and some of your audience have had grandparents or great grandparents that had the plastic on their couch, right?
Yep.
And what they do with that plastic? They were still cleaning it, right? There was still maintenance to it. They were protecting what mattered the most, the couch, the big investment, but they're still maintaining it. And it's the same thing with gutter protection.
Okay, but nothing is maintenance free. There's going to be something, but there's different levels. And some people need it, some people don't. And you're saying you could help them make the decision.
Correct.
Also, then the size of the gutter, and depending on what is it, 6 inch, 8 inch? How do those sizes?
Yeah, so there's all different types. We got 5 inch, 6 inch, 7 inch, and 8 inch. All right. Most homes only need 5 or 6 inch. Now, what we're moving everybody to is a 6 inch gutter, and the reason being is because we charge the same price.
Okay.
And the reason being that we charge the same price is because the supplier charges us very close to the same price.
Okay.
It's charged by weight, right?
Gotcha.
So the installation on a 5 and 6 inch is still the same. The warranties are still the same. So that's why we charge the same prices. So it's just better to get that extra upgrade, that 40% more for the same price.
You never knew there was so much to know about gutters, everybody, until you get a gutter expert in the building to help you understand that. We're going to spend another half hour here, go over some more in depth here, and dig in a little further, because this is an important piece. This affects. I can tell you, we've learned water, water, water. Be careful. Make sure your gutters are done correctly. Best damn gutters right here. Give it up.